Welcome.
Hi, everybody.
You are here with Warrior Commission Now, where we do chats about our favorite subject, God, Jesus, the kingdom, all those things. So in this place, we talk about how to live out your warrior commission in your adventure with God, in your relationship with Him. So today, our topic is going to be on the treasure in the room. And I love treasure hunting. I think it's so fun. And Christine, I believe you have a story for us today about that.
Yes. You're always just living life, right? And God just ends up coming into your moment and really just unpacking some deep revelation in those places as we're open to that, and I recently was in a place where I walked into a room that had about 40 people. It really probably wasn't COVID friendly, but it was, or maybe it was too COVID friendly. But anyway, I walked into a room and there were about 40 people there. And through the course of the time that I was there, God really started pointing out people. So sometimes when I walk into a room like that, I'm like, Lord, who do you want me to talk to? What is the person that you want me to connect to in this place? It makes it a lot easier because it takes the pressure off, right? And so anyway, so God highlighted someone who happened to be standing alone, and no one was around them. They obviously weren't normally a part of that group, if you will, and a regular. And so I went over and I started talking to this individual, and oh wow, the deep wells of treasure that were in this person were just astounding. And we got a chance to talk for a really good amount of time. And then, obviously, things shifted and went and started talking to other people. But I noticed that throughout the time, there were very few people that actually went over to this person, right? And I know a lot of us have social anxiety, we tend to gravitate to where we're comfortable, and all those kinds of things. But there are treasures in the room. And God started talking to me about how many treasures and how many deep wells so many of us carry in this time and season. We do have the internet. We do have, every version of the Bible practically available to us for free.
Yes.
And we have a lot of ways that we can go deep in the Lord. Amazing, rich resources out there that continue to help us grow and develop in God. And we're in this place now where God's talking about, what is this new time about? What is this new season about? And there was something about treasures in the room that I think was really, this new era is about in this season. So Sharon, I would love for you to share your thoughts on that before we kind of move any further into the conversation regarding the treasure in the room.
I love how God will disguise things, if you will, and they're not obvious. But in our relationship with Him, I love in your story, you started with the conversation with the Lord. Okay, who do you see? Because Jesus said, I only do what the Father's doing. Right. I only say what the Father's doing. So for us to partner with that, it is such a treasure hunt. Okay, Papa, what's most important to you? And oftentimes that other person simply needs to know they're seen, to speak out what God's been doing. Doesn't necessarily mean that person needs help.
Right.
Because,
yeah.
Right. But they have something that needs to be seen by someone. And when we see another person the way God sees them, it does do something in their lives, and it does impart value to them to walk out the treasure that's in them.
Right.
And we get to be a part, sometimes in big ways, sometimes in little ways, of that person getting to be who they are in the kingdom. That is always a treasure.
Right.
Always a treasure. And the Bible talks about how the whole earth groans for the sons and daughters to be visible and evident. And what if it's simply our question of, how are you doing? I'd love to hear what's going on in your world right now. What if that opens up a space for sons and daughters to be seen on the planet?
Yeah, it's a good question. And I think when we talk about in the Warrior Commission, we have boiled everything down to one word. For us, what is our why? We really boil everything down to the word intimacy, which really is about deep connection to God, to God's heart, deep relationship with Him, and heart connections with each other. And what that looks like lived out is very powerful, because it's so much a part of what this new time is about. There are a lot of people who go into a room looking for what we term as the most important person in the room.
Right.
One who visibly is maybe the speaker or the pastor or, the head of the company or whatever.
Right.
But the reality is that there are people in that room that may actually hold more than what those other people carry. And
Yes.
I'm not just counting the position of leaders. I'm not just counting where God has put them at all. But I am countering our mindset of what is most important.
Right.
Not what is most important, but what is most important. Because all of us are equally valued. So when we talk about in the Warrior Commission, when we talk about the importance of value and voice, a lot of what we're talking about is how we value each other and how we give voice to another.
Yes.
And a lot of what we're training in and developing is doing that. So when I walk into that room, of course, I'm coming with that culture in my heart. What is a way I can value someone in this room and see how God values them, and maybe help them see how God values them.
Right.
And also give them a place to have a voice, to share their heart, to share the treasures, the kingdom treasures that God has put in their lives. And when you walk into a room with that mindset, it's amazing what happens in those spaces. How many different treasures you find in that room, in sometimes more than one in each individual, sometimes just multiple treasures through the course of those individuals. But I wonder if we walked into a room with that in mind, how things might change.
Right.
In how we interact and what we value in each other and what we draw out of each other.
Right.
And
that is what Jesus did. If you read the Gospels, and how when he went into a town, he didn't go find the mayor. He didn't go find the chief priest. He was dealing with the everyday people.
Right.
And he was able to help them see God's value of them. And there's a verse, hold on just a second. I'm going to pull it up. It's here, Matthew 25, verse 40. And it's Jesus is telling a parable, and it is about who you pay attention to. And he says, the king gives a gift to those who are living the way he would like them to live. And it says, the king replies, truly I tell you, whatever you did for one of the least of these brothers and sisters of mine, you did for me. And we don't get to say who's the least. So you may walk into a room and the most important person that day is the least.
Yeah.
But it's about letting Jesus pick. It's about partnering with his mindset of the value of people and giving each person that voice. Because when each voice is valued, you have a symphony.
You do, yes.
You have a symphony, and it is rich and it is beautiful, as opposed to only focusing on one voice, oftentimes the loudest. And hopefully you're hoping that the loudest voice is in tune.
Right.
But there is this beauty when you give value to every single voice, and the symphony of God rises up, and we walk in alignment with his heart.
Yeah.
Because he's so good at loving. He's so good at loving people. And that partnership with him opens the door for us to love well too. And we may not even understand the impact of that treasure on our own lives.
Right. Yeah. And that's the thing is like, you don't go into that room going, what can I give someone else?
Right.
You go in and you say, God, what's the divine appointment that you
yes.
And that's a totally different thing. You're not walking in as if you're going to teach someone something or do something for someone, or, you know, you're God's gift to them.
Right.
In that moment, you know, you are in that place where you are open to what God wants to do and what he wants to impart. And usually in those dialogues and in that interchange, there is such a kingdom treasure exchange.
Yes.
Right? Because God has that treasure in each of us as well. You know,
right.
And I think when we walk in that kind of a mindset, something happens to what it looks like to live kingdom.
Right.
And really, in some ways, this is a call to the church to do church differently, to really not always walk in hoping to get the thing from the one, you know, who may be amazing and who may have something to give you. You know, obviously they're there for a reason. God opened that up for them. So yes, you receive from that, but not to discount those around you and who God has positioned you next to, so that you can connect. Some of my deepest conversations and really even best friends over time, you know, you develop those relationships over time, have come because I've been open to that. And I've turned to someone next to me and gotten my brave on and introduced myself, you know, and just, you know, and or they've done the same thing. And it is just, we have an amazing kingdom resource in the people of God.
Yes.
And so I guess my encouragement to all of us today is just to really look for what are those treasures in the room, and to go into every situation with that open mindset of, God, what is the divine assignment or the divine appointment that you have for me in this place and in this moment in time.
Yes.
And really, when you look at God's heart, when you read the Bible, it's the people that are his heart. So what of his heart has he given to someone that's a deposit that they can make in your life or that you can make in theirs? So anyway, you guys have a wonderful day. I know we've given you some things to think about.
Right.
Would love for y'all to check out thewarriorcommission.com. That's our website for our community. If you want to learn more about us or understand more about what our day-to-day looks like as a community and as a tribe of Kingdom daughters and sons rising up in this time and season, we would love for you guys to check us out. So we will see you soon.
Bye.
Bye.